If everything works out, this will be nice and thin. I should probably work on that tip last. I don't know. I'm being extra careful, and even so, I got a big overshot on that tip edge. See how much it took out? Took out a big chunk. It was probably a little narrow flake. Now I want to do minimal flaking on this side since it's still slightly concave. It'd be ideal if I just took a few very wide flakes and try not to do that. It's going to end up being a narrow arrowhead. I can probably incorporate that shape into it. And I'll leave some of the original bottle surface. Unless I can remove it right now. I think I stepped it. Alright, I suppose that's okay. Alright, so I'm going to have to work with that shape there. Two large bites, but I think trimming it down will get rid of most of that. Okay. So yeah, I tried to go very thin with it, but there's drawbacks, obviously. All right. Now I'm not going to be doing any braiding for this stage. Mainly downward pressure, and if I see an opportunity to take a thinning flake, I might do it, or I might leave it. The main goal now is just to trim it and make sure there's no white powdery areas on the edge. Just clean snaps with no crushing. The side profile of his tip looks a little lumpy, but I'm just going to live with that. I think I like the champagne bottle glass a little bit better. I wasn't getting as much crushing as I am now. I still got a little lumpy spot on the tip. And I'm getting some crushing, so it's hard to drive a flake through some of those crushed areas. Yeah, I should stop messing with the tip there. I'm still going to have a part of that overshot. No, this was not an overshot. This was just a bite taken out of the side with too much pressure. I'm just going to leave it like that and then do the notching. The tip is not as smooth as I would like. Still have a little bit of the original bottle surface right in the middle there, but it's not too bad. There might be a step I can pick at, but I don't think so. Okay, let's see. All right, I got to be very careful with the notches on this one. Very thin pressure flaker. Doesn't take much to pop out a nice flake on glass. And it's good to have a dome or raised area of the pad so I can really get in there with the flaker. I think it went a little bit too low on that side. That's okay. trying to make these as narrow as I can. It's fairly easy with steel. If you're using antler, and you know, I've promised this before, but I will do some narrow notching with antler. As narrow as I can get. I'm not that good at it, but it can be done as long as the sides are very thin. As long as the edges are very thin, you can get in there, but you have to keep resharpening the antler. With steel, it doesn't wear down fast at all, so you can keep going. But with antler, you lose some with every pop out. Every flake, you lose some of the antler tip. I think I just stalled that one. When it stalls, you got to open it up, make it wider, and then nap on that new area that you just opened up, and hopefully, if it's not too crushed, you can get through, get past the stall. But I think this is hopeless. All right, let's see. I might be able to sharpen it. Sometimes sharpening this flaker or making it more narrow, so it's very, very narrow at the very tip. Sometimes it'll grab the glass better. It works on chert and flint too, of course. But it's a pretty thick, relatively speaking, pretty thick area. It's already stalled pretty good, but yep, I managed to grab a little piece of it. I managed to grab a piece of the edge there and pop it out. Okay, so now we're in business again. I can expand that bottom just a little bit and then see if I can go a little bit deeper. See if I can get rid of that white powdery area at the base of that notch. By popping out one more flake. Alrighty. So I just popped out another flake at the very base. It wiped out that partial stall. I got rid of the stall on the other side. Managed to get one flake to come off when I thought it was almost hopeless. Sometimes you're just going to have to leave it, because if you apply too much pressure, it'll snap it right across the notches. A lot of these glass points had serrations. But I don't think I'm going to put any intentional ones on this one, or exaggerated. The edge will be jagged, but that's pretty typical with glass. it's hard to get a smooth edge. It's usually pretty jagged no matter what you do. Even if you come by with an extremely fine pressure flaker and try to knap all those little thick spots off, it's still going to be kind of a jagged edge. I'll leave one ear longer than the other. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm not going to go all out and try to get rid of the, or try to go with an extremely narrow neck on this one. That's as thin as I dare to go. And you know, with flint or chert, I could probably get that lump out right there. This one here, but I'm afraid to push too hard on it and just take off the other edge. It's already way too narrow, more narrow than I thought it would be. This is the original, well, the other half. So you can see how much material is lost. You can of course make a wider arrowhead, but that's your yield. You can get 2 for maybe 3 from each bottle bottom on this particular one. Probably not the beer bottles that are blue, but this sparkling water has a fairly decent sized bottom. Okay, so now that we're here, well, let's see, try to get a thumbnail photo maybe. Okay, so now that we're here, I'm going to trim the previous arrowhead just a little bit more. Size comparison here. I'm going to trim some off this edge right here, just because it's bugging me. As you can see, the blue one is a lot more delicate, a lot thinner. But it's not outside the range. They did make very thin ones like that, very small, tiny ones. Yeah, this champagne bottle glass, it doesn't crush as much. Which probably means it's a little bit higher quality glass. Just as slippery though. Okay, so I'm running out of time, but that looks better as far as symmetry goes. Okay. So these are, I don't know what you would call these, side notch points. I think the Win2 has convex right here instead of concave. See how this is concave all the way? I think the Win2 is convex right here. But you know, on these ears. So it kind of looks like a fox ear. I think they call them fox ears. Anyway. So there you go. Let's see. I think I do have a tape measure finally. I don't know, what is that? Little over 5/8, not quite 3/4. Almost 1/8, not quite 1/8 thick. Or let's see. Yeah, it probably is 1/8 at the thickest. Let's just say it's a 1/2 inch. So that's what's that, 4:1 width to thickness. Pretty typical. They get much thinner, but I'm not going to go that thin with this, especially with glass. All right, there you go.